Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Griggs. I'm the founder of Faces of Epilepsy, and we want to welcome you today to The Feed. It is an epileptic podcast for you, our epileptics, and those that love them, care for them, and just want to know what is going on in the world of epilepsy. There's over 50 million epileptics in the world today, over 3.4 million just in the USA alone. And we're bringing this show to you from the East Coast to the West Coast and everywhere in between. I'm excited today to talk about dating and epilepsy, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'd like to bring on today my co-host and producer, Mike Hall, for if it wasn't for him, none of this would be possible. Mike, we thank God for you. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that good stuff. And Happy New Year.
Right.
2026. This year has went by. And the reason why I have no wrinkles, Mike, is because I've cried my eyes out almost every day because of the loss of my son, Judah, who is an epileptic, which is sort of one of the reasons that we connected through epilepsy and decided to start this show, The Feed. We love you, sir. What say you today?
You. Man, excited for 26. I'm gonna say that. Man, 25 was such a harvesting year. You get to a point in life where you see that like anything else on the planet, we are part of this. God created us to be part of this, and some years are planting years and some years are harvesting years. And last year, God blessed me to be able to plant seeds, because you have to see that as a blessing, right? If you can't, you don't understand the beauty of a harvest unless you dug them trails and put them seeds in and planted and watered those plants. And we've done that. Decades, you have done that with your family, with your ministry, with your outreach. So we thank you for that. And, a big part of what I'm doing next year is going to be going into Faces of Epilepsy and this show, The Feed, and really focusing on what we can do to just help folks and provide what we have is so needed. I mean, heck, go to AI and ask about what we're doing. Even AI is like, this is a wonderful idea. Why is no one already doing this? And to have somebody like you, that's, man, that is God. Even my own wife was telling me last night, you got to pay attention to what God is putting in front of you now that you prayed for, and not keep trying to do the other stuff. Right. So like, it's great stuff, but sometimes you have to move on from other projects to grow. So that's what we're doing. Let's go.
Yeah. Love you so much, Mike. With all of that said, you and I connected to do The Feed to really give this a platform to epileptics, especially those that need to be heard, need to share their story. And mostly that's because we're trying to bring awareness to, unfortunately, epilepsy that has been really shamed for some reason, just not talked about it. Even the amount of celebrities that people are shocked at when they find out have epilepsy. Prince, Elton John. I mean, some of the greats that we think of, like Cameron Boyce, an amazing actor, on Disney, had a good career for being such a young man, but passed away of SUDEP. We've talked about the statistics on this show. 1 out of every 1,000 epileptics die of SUDEP, and the just disparity, between epilepsy deaths and those that maybe even aren't diagnosed with epilepsy, but have seizures causing them to pass away, which is 1 every 20 minutes. That is crazy when you think about that statistic. When I post that out in groups, my people cannot believe 1 out of 20 people will die of a seizure. Now, doesn't mean they're diagnosed with epilepsy. Could be someone that had a seizure because of something else. Remember, my brother was not an epileptic. He passed away of liver disease, but he did have seizures as a result of that. So it's a very large community. And I think that doing The Feed, it gives opportunity for us to make way for those that can come on and share. And today we have a guest with us. Please keep Alyssa, our co-host, in prayers. She's been having some seizures, and so it doesn't allow her to be on today. But we do have another epileptic that I am so excited, Mike, to bring on the show today, especially around the subject of dating. I know you're an epileptic. Enrique Willis, who we are going to bring on, not to be confused with Enrique, but Enrique is going to come on and talk to us today about dating. Hi, Enrique. How are you?
Whoa, what's up? What's up? What's up out there? What's up? How you doing, Lisa? What up, Mike?
I'm doing great. So, Enrique, we're going to talk today about dating, okay, and epilepsy. Now, maybe you can share with everybody kind of how our paths crossed just through epilepsy, and then we can kind of get right into it.
Wow. You know what? It's everything that Mike said about it being God blessed, because I actually found my friend Lisa Lopez Griggs while I was in the hospital. And it just so happened that I had went to the hospital because I had 3 seizures. And I was in there for 10 days. I also have type 1 diabetes, and my seizures kind of tweaked my blood sugar. But anyway, how me and Lisa connected, it was in one of the epilepsy groups, and I just so happened to make 2 comments, and I remember you had liked it. And then you added me as a friend and told me a little bit about your story and how you was, pushing it because your son, Judah, God rest his soul, ended up passing from SUDA. And I've never known nobody personally that did, but I remember hearing about the young man who you just mentioned off of Disney. And that was the first time I had ever heard about that. And so we immediately connected because, like, the fact that you had a son that passed away, and it was like you had that type of drive and initiative to press the narrative, which I've been trying to do my whole life. You even mentioned a purpose, and I was like, you know what, Lisa, that's your purpose right there. I mean, look at what we're doing now. Look at what you're doing now. Everything that you're doing starts with epilepsy. You're just trying to push that narrative. You're a mother that not only cares, but cares enough to try to help people who may not even be related to you, but you just want to get it out there. So when you have this heart so big and open that anybody who has it is invited to come in with you. So, hey, I'm just totally thankful. And I thank God for you, because I believe that everything happens for a reason. And people are brought up into your life for seasons. And some people are brought into your life for a lifetime. And I believe that me and you connected on a level to where, hey, you're going to be there for a lifetime. You're like my older sister. I'm like, yeah, I'm with it. I told you, I'm 100 when it comes to getting it out and letting people know about this, because to be honest, this is something people need to know about more.
Yeah, Enrique, and we pray together. We talk, we pray together. We're both women and men of faith. I think that's helped to carry us through a lot of the, seizures and tragedies that we've experienced in our life. So I think that does help. And, it surprises me that 1 out of 26 people will be diagnosed with epilepsy. So the numbers are actually trending up. And a lot of young people, so a lot of youth are getting epilepsy, and then others too are getting diagnosed much later in life. But I think there does definitely need to be more awareness, and we're just so glad that you came on today. I'm so grateful that I got to connect with you. You're such a stellar human being, and also Mike Call, and we always thank him, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even be able to do this show. Our amazing producer, who happens to also be an epileptic.
Yeah, shout out to Mike, no doubt.
Yes. I want to get into it today with regard to this subject about dating. Epilepsy is a really serious subject. And I remember in high school, there was a young, very handsome man that had epilepsy. And I wondered, often if that played a part, in dating and being in relationships. And I know that you're in a relationship. How do you think, maybe you could tell us a little bit about, your relationship? Has epilepsy played a role, in your approach to dating?
Well, all my life, epilepsy has played a role because, with the people who I had once dated, I've ended up having a seizure. Now, I understand that could be a lot, but with the person that I'm with now, I've been with her for 7 years, and we actually had met in an epilepsy group. And I prayed 5 years before I met. I prayed for a woman. I was like, Lord, just send me somebody that's for me, gonna be for me on my team. And it's like when I saw her, because she introduced herself to me, I had just so happened to get in the group, and she came from out of nowhere and introduced herself to me. And when I saw her, I was like, I need to know who this woman is. I was like, it's just something about her. And it's kind of like I knew, and as a man, when you know. And when I saw her, I knew. I was like, nope, she gonna be mine. I'm taking her off the mat. I was like, I can't believe she's still out there, but you're not gonna be out there no more because you're gonna be mine. And so, as an epileptic, it is hard because we live with this, and some people get scared, nervous, which is to be expected because if you think about it, from the moment time started, people who had epilepsy, they thought that they were demons and things like that. They got burned and things because when they saw a person, and it was always like whenever they showed it, it was the tonic clinic or the grandma, and so they thought that they were possessed and things like that. So they used to burn them. But so I can understand why that would be a little bit nervous and scary, because I've been having them since I was 12 years old. I'm 35 now. So I've been having them for 23 years.
Wow.
And so, it takes a lot to be able to accept that. Get used to it, because, it's just something that a lot of people can't handle. And I give a shout out to anybody that has epilepsy. I call them my purple brothers and my purple sisters.
Yes. Because, they are warriors.
Yes. That's warriors. Exactly what it is. If you have it, you are a warrior.
100%.
Yes. Now, I know when I first started dealing with it, I didn't know what was going on. I was trying to figure it out. But over time, I had to develop a type of strength. Nobody in this world can tell me that a person with epilepsy isn't a strong person. Because like you said, 1 out of 26 people have it. 1 out of 26.
Yeah.
So every 1 in 26 person will have it. But that one person that does have it, if you don't believe, look, you're stronger than what you think you are.
Yes.
You're stronger than what you think you are, because you have to face so much on a daily basis. Sometimes we don't even know when the seizures might come on.
Yeah.
They'll just come from out of nowhere. We can be having such a good day, and then the next thing you know, we wake up laying down, like, what happened? And then start, might have a headache or anything, and then But we have epilepsy. Epilepsy doesn't have us. And that's what I stand with. I have epilepsy, but it doesn't have me. And one thing epilepsy does not do is stop me from love, from finding somebody that's with me. And it just so happened that the Lord blessed me with somebody that was just like me. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So
that is so awesome. She has epilepsy too, Enrique?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, are you two on the same medications or different?
We're on one type. Now, she's on the one that I used to be on, but I had to get off of it. Have you ever heard of the Keppra Rage?
Yes. Yeah. My son was on Keppra when he was 14. That was what they first put him on. And he definitely had Keppra Rage. He was homicidal, suicidal. I did not recognize him at all. In fact, on that Keppra, they also wanted to put him on another medication for bipolar, because there's a trigger, there's an inhibitor between bipolar and seizures. And I don't know how many of our community understand that, but there's many, many articles out there that if you have bipolar, you can also be susceptible to having seizures. And so oftentimes they will put you on Keppra, and then they'll additionally put you on some kind of psych medication from your psychiatrist. I think Mike wants to jump in here on this Keppra rage discussion. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, of the panel, I am currently on Keppra, have been for going on 8 years now. And I'm also on Vimpat. That is the you know what I mean? That is the leveler. That is
I was on that too.
that is the other side of the teeter totter.
Yes. You had some
But
exquisite dreams with that.
yeah.
Is that Mike? Is that a psych drug that kind of, when you say other side, I'm just trying to understand for those that are in the audience that don't understand.
Yes,
What does that mean exactly? Can you just expound upon that?
Right. Couple things. Yes, Vimpat specifically is also prescribed in the treatment of epileptics and for seizures on its own. However, very mild and not that effective in all cases. With Keppra, they like the two because the combination of them usually are complementary and the side effects are kind of the same, if you will. The difference is that the Vimpat is set up, and forgive me, I'm not a I produce podcasts. You know what I mean? Let's not go crazy here. But as I understand it, the Vimpat is it's the one that tampons the Keppra rage. It brings the rage emotion down. Now it can crank up the depression, absolutely. To the point of, and something I wanted to mention, I recently went and saw a new brain doctor. What do you call it? What do we see? The brain doctors. Neurologist. Yes, I went and saw a new neurologist. Sorry.
Love it.
It's all good, Mike. It's all good, man.
For those that don't know, I work nights, so this is like the morning for me. So yeah, like I work like from like noon to like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. So like, yeah. Anyway, so basically, long story short, I told him, I was like, hey man, I've been trying methylene blue. It seems to help. I've reduced my prescription level of meds instead of taking one Keppra, one Vimpat AM PM and dealing with huge amounts of depression. And it's almost more the lethargy for me. And I understand everyone's different, but if you understand this out there, I just want you to know you're not alone. It's that thing when I'm on both doses daily, I wake up and I'm like, how can we live in this world? Like this is what are we doing? Why are we doing any of this? Whereas, when I cut it down to half, where I take one a day in the late afternoon, I feel much better, much more functional. For me, and only for me, the methylene blue does seem to work. Very mild, but it does seem to work. I even asked my neurologist about it, and he said methylene blue was prescribed in the 20s and 30s. It was one of the very first anti-seizure meds. However, it damaged kidneys, or it was hard on kidneys and livers, and so they stopped doing it. Might be, and that is fair. And yes, it can. Now, remember, when they were doing that back in the 20s and 30s, whiskey and milk is what you drank all day. Yeah. It was literally rare to drink water because you had to go to a well, fill a bucket, bring it inside, and you used it for cooking and washing, and you drank milk and whiskey, and
wash it down.
Here, yeah, which is fine. But nowadays, if you can get your gallon of water in, get you one of those little quarter-gallon drinks, 4 in a day, 1 in the morning, couple in the afternoon, 1 with dinner in bed, you should be fine, I think. And it has helped me. I'm the most functional I have been. I did want to say, be careful though, too, because I told him, I said, I am trying to reduce these meds due to depression and even, sometimes suicidal thoughts, just keeping it real. And he was like, well, just take more vitamin B. He was like, no, do all your meds. Don't keep doing what's working for you. Go back on all your meds. Stop taking the methylene blue and just take more vitamin B. And if you have a problem, call me in 90 days. So we understand, man. I don't know about you, Enrique, but my neurologists, I've had 3 total, and one of them, she's been pretty solid. But the other 2 were just, they're just like that. And I don't know.
Man, I can't even count how many I had. Now, I know my last one before the one that I had now, she was my neurologist for 7 years. And me and her were really tight. I even asked her a question, and she told me she can't say from a doctor's standpoint, but she did acknowledge that certain thing might help. I'm gonna say that I have a medical card. So the things that you use with a medical card, it helps me.
I'm with it. I'm with you.
Yeah,
You already know me, man.
we talked about it. But I mean, it helps me, and the thing with neurologists, it's good when you can find somebody that actually cares and listens to you. Because the thing is, with doctors, it's like they come in and they read you from off of what they've learned, off of what they studied. But me, myself, I don't think you can do that because every patient is different. Like what Mike was just saying, medication affects people in different ways. The way that it affects him, it might not affect me like that. And so, when you take up that manner as a neurologist or epileptologist, that's a big task. And are you doing it for the money or are you doing it for the patient? Do you really care? Because some doctors, they just do it off of that. They tell you this, tell you that, then they're gone. Then you have some doctors who actually sit there and listen to you. Because the medication that they're giving you might not work. That's why I had to get up off of Keppra, because as soon as I started experiencing that little rage, I was like, no, I can't do that. Because it came from out of nowhere, and I noticed it. I was like, no, I need to get off of it. And I had heard about the Keppra rage. So when I got it, I was like, no, I can't deal with that. Because over my whole life, I've probably been over 25 different type of medications for epilepsy. So I've had a lot. I've even had acute kidney failure from having so many different types of prescriptions, and my body wasn't flushed right. I wasn't taken off of them the right way. They would just take me off of one and put me directly up on one instead of flushing it out of my system by a whole month, like my new neurology does. She actually took me off of one, which was Depakote.
Yeah.
Because Depakote can cause pancreatitis. And it just so happens that I have type 1 diabetes. So my pancreas is torn. So I have to take 2 types of insulin. And I was getting pancreatitis while being on Depakote. So we had to get off of it. In a way that she got me off of it, we took a month taking less and less and less until we got to 1 pill a day. And then she took me off of that. So it's a way to do things. And if neurologist, it's a way to do things. I think that's a real sensitive type of field to be in, because you're dealing with people like they got depression, suicidal thoughts and things like that. And that's really sad, because we don't know where it came from. We're just trying to control it. And when they tell you that it's not going to stop, it's going to control it, but then you still have them at the rate or even more.
Yeah. This is such a good point to bring up. My son, Judah, started on Keppra, which is what we were talking about, and then had the rage and homicidal, suicidal, then moved to Depakote. He was on 3,000 milligrams of Depakote a day. I want to ask you, when we think about the body, and you were talking about, medication works differently. Enrique, that's what you're saying on each person, right? Yeah. But we also understand that the body is the miracle. So pharmaceutical drugs have a very specific path, A to B. But when you start putting things more natural into your body, like we've discussed it a lot, and Mike knows about it, we've discussed it on this show. I didn't have one neurologist that ever told me that my son needed to be on a high omega-3 diet, okay? That is crucial.
Yes.
For epileptics.
Yes, it is.
You have to be on a high omega-3 diet.
Yes, you do.
And I don't think most neurologists know that, because they get such a short amount of time in education on nutrition. But if anyone is listening today on this podcast, or you're listening to a short reel, you have to be on a high omega-3 diet for your brain health, because the inflammation is also what's causing those neurons in your brain to cause the seizures, cause these responses, these impulses, rather.
Yeah, the electric storms, like I like to call them.
Yeah. So can you say that again, Enrique?
I like to call them electric storms.
Yes, electric storms. So when these triggers are rapid firing, and then you're going online, offline, which is basically what's happening through these seizures. So, and right now, the way that our food supply is that we have so much linoleic acid, we have so much, acids in our foods, in these seed oils that we're eating in our food supply, especially here in the USA. It's causing our brains to be more inflamed, which is also causing these issues with epilepsy going up. So something to think about, that there are other ways too to implement things that aren't just medication. I think Mike's going to pull up some studies here. Mike, I know you're just in the background there. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm here. I just wanted to drop this as you spoke to kind of give that credibility and that reinforcement there. And it's a simple search, and it just says a meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials suggest moderate certainty evidence that omega-3 supplementation leads to significant reduction in monthly seizures among adults with drug-resistant epilepsy, with a mean reduction of 4.19 seizures per month. So wasn't the same necessarily in children, but it was key for reducing a ton. And then, of course, it also brings up the anti-inflammatory properties, including increased latency to seizure onset, enhanced seizure threshold in animal models. And all that is triggers, right? So that just means that a high diet in the O3s allows those gives you a little more trigger time and a little more trigger warning there. And I just wanted to show that all the research backs you up, and you are correct there. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt.
It's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. And if you're going to take an omega-3, and again, full disclosure, I don't make any money from Zincino's product, but it is a patented product. It comes out of Norway. It's very inexpensive. It's the best omega-3 that you can take on the market because it has polyphenols in it. And you have to have polyphenols in these omega-3 supplements. Omega-3 is not something that our body makes. We actually get it from our mothers in utero. So we have a limited amount of it. And so we have to supplement our diets with it. So make sure that if you are, taking, an omega-3, that you're doing it with polyphenols, and, reach out to Enrique. He can get you a bottle, I'm sure, if you need to. So Enrique, I have a question about this rage part. With the Kepler rage, were you dating? I want to get back to the whole dating piece here. Were you dating when you were having, like that rage? Because I'm wondering if people that are dating that have this Kepler rage, if they maybe have, struggles with dating. Like, who would want to date somebody that's going off the handle and doesn't even realize they're going off the handle? Did that ever play a part in your dating?
Yeah, I just so happened to have been 25, and I was dating someone at the time, and I remember it like it was yesterday. We was having a discussion. It got kind of heated, and I punched the headboard. I literally saw myself punch the headboard. I got angry from out of nowhere, and like I just got so angry, and I hit the headboard, and it scared the life out of her. And because I don't hit anyone, especially females. I don't. And I just so happened I had got so angry that it was like, it just happened. And she was like, you know what? I'm like, look, it's the medication. I'm going to take myself off of that immediately. And I had to take myself up off of it, not only for her, but for myself, because, me just randomly hitting headboards and things like that. Like, I'm like, what is that? And then I started to do some research because I had been hearing about the Kepler rage thing, but I had never experienced it. Like, and me being up on it and that happened, it was a problem. It became a quick problem, and I had to get rid of that problem very fast because, dating with epilepsy already is something. But when you're dating with epilepsy and you have a problem like a Kepler rage, that makes it even more difficult. So I had difficulty already. I wasn't trying to add nothing on, so I had to get myself up off it because, I mean, it does happen to some people, and it just so happened to happen to me. So I had to take myself up off of it.
Yeah, that I'm sure that plays a big part. Did you, when you started dating, when you were in your 20s, with epilepsy, Did you disclose that you had epilepsy pretty early on in the dating process, or did you wait?
No, I let it be known. I let it be known off the top, because I didn't, before I got in deep with anybody. I had to let them know what my circumstances were, because I didn't want it to overwhelm nobody. They see it from out of nowhere. I always think, as an epileptic, when you are dating, you shouldn't be ashamed to let people know that. That's your life. You shouldn't be ashamed. Now, it's up to them to deal with it, whether or not they want to, go forward, move forward with it, or if it's not for them, But I do think that as an epileptic, you do need to let people know. Because like I said, you have some people who might have one from out of nowhere. There is a type of seizure where, you can just go into one. And I mean, for your own and for the person who you might be trying to, create a relationship with, you owe it to yourself to let people know, just so they can be up on the safe side, and for you to be up on the safe side, because you don't want epilepsy to stop your life, but you have to understand that epilepsy is a part of your life, but it doesn't have to run your life. So you have to take initiative to let it be known that you do have it, but it's not just, it doesn't run your life like that. You can still function as a normal person, as a normal adult. It's just a shield that you got. You have to carry it with pride, and you also have to carry it with a sense of maturity, be able to let it be known and be able to accept, because some people can deal with it, some people can't. That's unfortunate, but it's a part of life. Everybody's not going to be able to deal with the same thing. Everybody's not going to be able to handle the things that you got, but that's okay, because I believe there's somebody out there for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm walking proof. I'm walking proof that there's somebody out there for you.
And it's scriptural.
Yes. Yes.
So you're not the only one that believes that, right, Henri? Your creator said it. He has created a helpmate comparable to you.
Yes.
So there is someone for everybody.
There's somebody for everybody, including all my epileptic brothers. It's somebody out there for you. It is. It's somebody that's going to love you past what you got. Because, hey, there's nobody on this earth that's perfect. We all have something. Use your strength from the fact that you have your epilepsy to be more than what they think epilepsy is. Because when you have it, you're a warrior, you're a soldier. You're not a punk. That's I just go straight to it. If you have epilepsy, you are not a punk. You can't be. It's no sense up in your blood. Whether you believe it or not, you're a warrior. You're strong, because everybody can't deal with what people deal with. Everybody can't deal with epilepsy. Waking up every day is a blessing. Sometimes you wake up from a seizure or whatnot, but being able to still function and just walk in life despite what you're dealing with. Hey, you got epilepsy. Epilepsy doesn't have you.
Yeah, it's really, really the truth. Yeah, it's really, really the truth.